therapeutic breakthroughs that people will get in embracing this product. And so over the years, we have demonstrated many aspects of this product in different ways. And we've seen just great enhancement, upgrade, lifestyle upgrades, change in behavior, habitual changes that are progressive towards the person being the better person that they can
be. Okay, so how does the product do this?
Basically, what the product does is it helps the person to truly understand flow and blockage. And one of the steps, which we call step 3, is called the maturation process. And so what we find is that a lot of people are operating very immaturely. And they're operating immaturely because of blockage. And so when you have emotional and psychological blockage, oftentimes coming from childhood, it becomes reasons of safety and security. And those areas you can't penetrate. They're like an invisible wall, so you can't go through them on your own. And so what the code process literally does is it helps the person to acknowledge the blockage, access the emotion, and then apply a tool to take the contract in which they've established many moons ago and change the basis of the contract to dissolve it or dissipate it, and so it gives them a whole new world.
So then they feel more like who they're supposed to be?
Yeah, well, the actual third step of the maturation process is actually called the true self. And what we find is most people are operating very superficially. They're operating as a superficial person because they've been conditioned all their life to think a certain way, feel a certain way, and they don't really understand the tremendous resource that's in their abundance. And so what we do with the process is we get them to give us the information, and then we take the information and give it back and say, look, you're very powerful. What are you going to do with this information?
Now that is a great way of putting it. That they give you information, you put it back, they're like, if you really look at this, you should be doing more than what you're doing. Is that it? Okay. All right.
And so it's a lot of righteous manipulation in the product by design. Because of the years of this work that I've done, I realized that most people won't do right by just telling them to do right, because we live in a Western world that psychologically, whatever you tell them, they want to do the opposite. So the product is designed with righteous manipulation to get people to look at things that they're not looking at and let them to discover themselves. So once they discover themselves, they say, yeah, this makes all the sense in the world.
Ah.
Ain't that something?
Yeah. So the process helps them to help them realize without you really actually telling them.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. So they're telling themselves.
Yeah.
So it's
exactly.
their truth and not your truth.
Right. Now, that's the manipulation of the product. Now, some people you may have to kind of edge them on and let them know. You know, so it just depends. If they're kind of antsy and they really want to know and they ain't got it yet, then that person as a facilitator would help them. But the actual design on it is for them to discover themselves.
Yeah, that's the best way.
So that the light bulb comes on. You know, and so when the breakthrough comes, see, the original Cycles of Development education is a 7-step process. It goes soul searching, sincerity of effort, level of commitment, concentration of effort, momentum accumulation, and breakthrough. So once you are in soul searching, and soul searching is about discovery. You're here to discover the unknown. And so soul searching is about discovering the unknown and your mental preparation. Then you move to step 2, the sincerity of effort. Step 3 would be the level of commitment. And so when people have an understanding of the different levels of commitment, it gives them a whole understanding why a lot of times they were not functioning well, is because they really weren't committed as they thought they were. Then we go into the concentration of effort, where all the power is. The more you focus in with concentration on a process, you can't do nothing but be effective. And so one of the designs on the Cycles of Development educational process is really to help people to understand the universal processes that are before them that they're not paying any attention to. And that too, of course, begins to heighten their awareness, heighten their activity, put them in motion to start doing things, because they start realizing their life, their time, and how I've been fooling around. You know, these processes are in motion, and I have the full advantage to make these things happen. Yeah, you do. And so it gives them that type of incentive. We say get up off your assets. Make something happen.
Okay, so this is so people can manifest on a material plane. So, but it seems like you have a spiritual something on it there.
Yeah, well, based on the spiritual side of it, we basically are using a very, again, skillful tactic so that we can go among the so-called professionals and not use words that are taboo or will scare them. Because when we say spiritual, it just simply means demonstratable, accurate knowledge. And so we're coming with such an accuracy of the mathematics of what we're doing that nobody's going to be able to deny it. So you can attack it, but you can't disprove it. Because everything we're doing is backed by law. And so time of development and putting the work that's being put in to create this, and like I said, in a manner to present it to a person and they can look at it and say, wow, this is interesting. But it's backed by an understanding of a process. And then we take a law and we also demonstrate what we're saying based on that law. And so, for example, when we deal with step 2, inventorying your state of consciousness, what backs the inventorying your state of consciousness is the law of accountability. And so when you take the law of accountability and you deal with personal accountability, that's what you find in this country a lot of people are running from.
Exactly.
They don't want to be personally accountable. That's kind of taboo, and it's been spread through the media. You know, it's just really put out there. And so what we do, again, we manipulate them into realizing if you want to be great, you got to be accountable. And so there's like a trade-off.
Well, I would like if you use the word, we assist them in becoming accountable.
That's true.
Like them, people don't like that word.
No, we wouldn't. No. We wouldn't use that word to sell and market. I'm just basically sharing it with you on kind of the inside because nobody wants to be manipulated.
So this is a sales piece right here.
Oh, okay. Well, take that word away.
Okay, so say.
See, again, I'm the type of person that I have to be real who I am. So you in the interview process, then I have to know, okay, I'm selling. Because that's a whole different person I have to put on there. His attitude has to shift because, oh, I'm going to have to sell you? Okay, well, it's not manipulation. Yeah, we basically assist people in helping them to understand the tremendous resource that is within.
Oh, okay. All right.
And that's the whole fun part of the whole process, is we're constantly assisting people. The abundance is about acknowledging, accessing, and applying. And these 3 stages are what we call the abundance, that all the resources that live in us, none of them are any good unless you acknowledge them first. Then after you acknowledge them, you have to take them from the thought to the feeling, which we call that the accessing, and then you have to take them from the feeling to the physical taking action, which is called the application or the applying process. And every time that you apply something, you get a result or an outcome, which is what we call is the truth. Because the outcome or the result is a response that every time you do it, you start accumulating. These experiences will tell you what you're doing, whether it's working or not. And so the process of the abundance, of awakening the abundance, when people are not conscious of their abundance, they're oftentimes operating from what we call the spirit of lack. Their whole concept is based on they're looking for something that really doesn't exist. And so a part of the code process is really alerting a person to understand that there's no such thing. And so whatever it is that you've been looking for in your life, it's already with you. And so as soon as you're ready to discover it, then you're going to get on your way. You see, it's a lot of fun.
Okay. All right. So, I got the sales piece. So, with that, while you're here, what is your goal? This is not the sales piece. This is just
okay. Our goal while we're here in Florida is to really network and meet some people who would see the value in the process so that we can kind of build on it. And we have, we were invited down by some internet marketers who actually have been building products online. And so when we sat before them for about 30 minutes kind of sharing aspects of the code, both of them were like, you can make millions of dollars online with this. This is just mind-blowing. And so they have hundreds of thousands of them here in town. And so, of course, we came down with the hopes or the aspects of being able to get in front of some of these folks. But if we are able to just network with them and get their names and numbers and be able to make contact with them as time goes on, that too will work.
Okay.
Not just one group.
So, you want to meet with folks who can help the process work. What would the items for sale be? Because he said you can make money online, but you'd have to be selling something.
Right. Well, these gentlemen, what they do is they actually create tools for marketers, internet marketers. Mm-hmm. And so I think what they were able to identify is what you're talking about is a tremendous tool that people need.
Right.
And I think that's what they were identifying with. So what I thought they were really alluding to was packaging this product a certain way, introducing it to a community, which they've been...
Packaging it as a book, as a video, as a combination?
All of it. And so that's a part of what we're investigating. What is the best way to do it, and meeting with them on. Because we need to figure out what their process is. So we need to, when they show us their process, it will help us to understand the best approach to getting that. But we ultimately see having all those different products, what do you call it, the e-book, the webinar, the actual product can be purchased online, 11 CDs. We want to create all of it because we think all of it, online presence, is going to be a market for it. And so the objective is just prioritizing what is the best approach to go step 1, step 2, step 3.
Makes sense. Okay. All right. So, what else do we want to talk about? We cut the camera off with.
Yeah. Let's see. Is there anything else that I haven't shared? Well, in the code process, again, the first step is the evaluation self. 27 questions, basically, to help a person to identify throwing blockage within themselves. The second step is inventorying your choice of consciousness, which helps the person to, probably the average person for the first time, is going to become aware of their thought process. Because most people are not aware of it. They just think it. And again, it's an unconscious behavior. They're not even thinking about it. And so, again, it's a way to help a person to realize within themselves their state of mind. And then the third stage, which is the maturation process, is really designed to look very, very specifically into your purposeful, emotional, passionate, spiritual, intellectual aspect of who you are, and really see what's going on there. And so where there's strength in one, there'll be a weakness in the other, and you'll find that this may be the root of why you're not progressing in life, And so the maturation process of that will help you to look exactly what you need to focus in on to develop that area of yourself beyond where it may have been, in the past, that's keeping you in bondage to that thought, that feeling, that idea, or that experience. And then when we go into the fourth step, it's about the skill sets of taking the tools, the mental tools and resources, and developing the skill sets that are necessary to do whatever it is that you need to do within the resources of this universal body. And so most people are not focused in on that as skills, but those are some of the greatest skills that people need when it comes to personal development. Because no matter how effective you become outside of yourself with skills, if you have blockages internal, you're going to hit a certain level and you're going to peter out. You're going to just fall flat there. You're not going to be able to branch beyond that. It's because of the blockage that you created in your young adult life or childhood.
Okay. All right. So how'd you come up with this again?
I guess the best way to describe how I came up with this is it goes back about 30 years ago, maybe even 40 years ago. I was a student of nature. I just began to study cause and effect, just being a child, and I went around and I looked at the homeless and the mentally ill and the prostitutes, and I just started talking to people because I was very fascinated at wanting to know what were people thinking. And so at a very young age, I began to really tune in to processes. And as more and more as I got involved in watching processes, I was actually studying law. And I wasn't aware at the time that I was studying law, but I could begin to see